Hey there, it's Maggie, and I wanted to make this little video because I really want to try and communicate with people back home in Ely about voting for Bernie Sanders in the upcoming Democratic primary. And if you weren't planning on voting for him, please hear me out. I think that he's the best chance we have to defeat Donald Trump and also to enact policies that will end the creation of poverty in America and also help vulnerable communities rebuild in this country. So, I guess what do I want to talk about? I made some notes because I was nervous. Um, so basically, I know Super Tuesday is coming up. Minnesota gets to vote very soon now. And I've been doing a lot of canvassing for Bernie and a lot of calls into the Bernie dialer, talking to voters all over the country. But I really wanted to connect to people in my own community back in Ely. And so this video is for you guys. And basically, I feel like me supporting Bernie Sanders now, that all started because of how I was raised in Ely and because of the community that we had there. That instilled these progressive values in me, and I'm just getting emotional as I think of all those families that were part of my family and part of supporting me throughout my childhood, and everyone who came to the presentation on Syrian revolutionaries and everyone who came to me and Glenn's poverty presentation back in high school even. Yeah, I think that those values that we held as a community, those are the values that I see reflected in Bernie Sanders and in his campaign and his movement that he's building. And, back to that poverty presentation, I remember at the time me and Glenn were talking a lot about global poverty, and that was the focus of the presentation. And someone mentioned, oh, you should include that people in America are poor too. And we were like, yeah, like we should. And we just put one slide on there that said, like, there's poverty in America too, you guys. But we didn't have any details because, we grew up lucky, we grew up sheltered, and we didn't see the poverty that is present in this country to such an extreme degree. And I never saw it until I became an organizer with Unite Here, where the union that represents food service and hotel workers across the country. And through that work, I met so many hardworking men and women who worked 40 plus hours a week and still couldn't afford the basic necessities of life, working for huge corporations like Marriott Hotels, like Sodexo, a huge food group across the country, like Compass, all of these massive corporations whose CEOs are making millions of dollars while their workers literally live in poverty in our country. And I remember meeting women, going to a woman's house once for the first time and coming in, and I was like, oh, did you just move? Because there was no furniture in her living room. And she said, oh no, we moved here a couple years ago, but I haven't been able to save the money to buy furniture for the house yet. And going to talk to people who said, oh yeah, I got my paycheck last week, so I went grocery shopping and the kids are going to have to eat whatever's in the cupboards until I get my paycheck in 2 weeks because I literally don't have the money to go shopping again. And once all the fruit and vegetables are gone, they're gone, and you're stuck eating rice and beans and whatever is in the cupboards. And for me, seeing that poverty so directly, right in front of me in this country, it was shocking. And I think those values, that's what this movement is built on. Because it's not an accident that people are paid so low. People have fought for decades against raising the minimum wage. Companies, people, and CEOs and billionaires have fought against it, and that's a part of how they've made their money. And to have a candidate today who sees that and who believes that and who doesn't take money from billionaires because they say, I know that money comes with strings attached, is so inspiring. And so I just want to talk a little more about, let's see, like that picture of the people that I met in the union, that's not unique. That's actually more the norm for Americans. The average American lives paycheck to paycheck. 2/3 of the country lives paycheck to paycheck, which means that if there was an accident or something that happened that even accrued a $500 unexpected bill, they wouldn't be able to pay it. They don't have that money in the bank. And the situation is getting so dire in this country. And I think that's why Bernie Sanders has been rising in popularity, and why so many people who have been victims of this situation, of the system that we've allowed to function in this country, are standing up and saying enough is enough. Like, this is a candidate who really stands for me. And I think that Bernie Sanders is the best chance that we have to defeat Donald Trump, because, Trump unfortunately excited new people who had never voted before, came out and voted for him. And Bernie Sanders has the ability to do the same thing. And we've seen that in a few of the contests that have happened already. He won 40% plus of the vote in Nevada, and he won that by winning over a majority of Hispanic voters. He won the vast majority of young voters. He's even winning in moderates. He won more moderate voters than any of the moderate candidates. And so I think that's like one misunderstanding about this race, is that Bernie somehow only represents like the farthest left in the country. But actually, he's speaking a message that the average person experiences on a day-to-day basis. And so, many moderates fall into that category, people who live paycheck to paycheck. But they feel the struggle, and they see, oh, this guy's been fighting for me and saying things that I believe to be the problems for his entire political career. And I think, that's part of why he is the best person to beat Trump, because he's going to bring out new voters, and he attracts voters, he attracts independents, he wins among independents. He's winning among young people who have, are half as likely to vote in this country as older voters. And younger voters, he's winning. A sheer majority of us are turning out for him in these contests. And people who have never voted before. And so I think that's how we can win against Donald Trump. I want to look at my notes. Yeah, I think he's someone who people believe is authentic, and someone who people know that he's going to fight for us, and we're willing to fight for him. I think the movement that he has behind him is so inspiring. People are driving all over the country to canvass on their weekend in another state. People are making calls all over the country. And I'm confident that while the majority of us who are campaigning for Bernie, who are so engaged in this fight because we see that we have to defeat Donald Trump, we're going to vote blue no matter who. I would be so happy and excited to vote for Warren. I would, if she were the progressive leading, I would probably be campaigning for her. I think she did lose me a little bit when she said that, when she backed up on Medicare for All, saying that she would only start implementing it in the third year of her term, which usually means you're more likely to lose the support you need in the House and in the Senate in that midterm election. So that freaked me out a little bit. And, I think Bernie has the movement behind him. But if Warren was the nominee, I would happily vote for her. I would go throw up, and then I would go vote for Bloomberg, but I would still do it. I don't think it would make any working class person's life better. I don't think it would make women's lives better. I don't even want to think about what that means for women to have him in charge. I think it would make, but I think it would make a difference for immigrants, and that's why I would do it, because I think, what we see happening on the border, what we see with banning Muslims from entering the country, I don't think those kinds of things would happen under President Bloomberg or under any other moderate. But I'm hoping that it doesn't come to that, because we have a real chance right now to elect Bernie Sanders. And I know Minnesota, I looked at the polls. Bernie's in second. Amy Klobuchar's in first. That's the only state that she's winning. And she's polling at about 5% nationally. She doesn't seem to have a path to winning. And so I would ask, if you're one of the people supporting Amy, it really matters where we put our vote in this election. I think some people think, oh, anyone but Trump is going to be equally fine. And of course I'll vote for anyone but Trump, but it doesn't mean we're going to have the same America on the other side. And I'm looking at, what America are we going to have 4 years from right now? And I think with Bernie Sanders, we have a real opportunity that I don't want to miss. So, sorry to get emotional. If you're from Ely, from my hometown, you know that this is how the Jesmies do it. Yeah, thank you so much to everyone from home for your support throughout my life and for everything that you've taught me. And I'm very excited for us right now and for our future. So, go Bernie. Thank you.